All right, with YouTube, what's up? We were here with.
I'm Jordan Hoagland.
And what'd you do at the Indy Regional about a week ago?
I got 44th out of 48 at the Indy Regional. I went 6-3 with Supreme King, Melodious, Superheavy.
Pen Best deck.
Yeah, Pen Best deck. Most people would just call it like Pen Soup. It's never good pen deck.
Yep. All right, so let's just dive into this and ignore the fact they're different slaves.
We just played locals and I used cards from it. That's why it's different slaves.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bother switching them back.
Right.
So we'll start with the Supreme King engine. We're on 3 Gate Magician. Oh, right. 3 Gate Magician. This is like the core of the deck, basically. All of your other Pendulum engines want to search this guy. This guy gets you your tuners and everything else you need. He has 3 relevant effects. In scale, he can destroy himself to place a Supreme King Gate from your deck, which is going to be the donut. And then he can summon himself if you control a differently named Supreme King Gate by sending a Xyz Dragon, Synchro Dragon, Fusion Dragon, or Pendulum Dragon in name, which just means you have to play a Garnet in your extra deck. And then on summon, he searches any card that mentions Zerk. He's great. He's like if Circular wasn't a 1-card starter, but for Pendulum. After that, we've got the one of Gate 0, which none of the effects matter on this card. It's just the other gate you have to play for Gate Magician.
Yep.
We're on 1 Lightworm and 1 Darkworm. This was new for me. I usually play 2 of these, but I cut them down to make room for the new engine I put in here. And it was great. It was great all day. I never felt like I needed more than this. Darkworm on summon searches any Supreme King Gate out of your deck, and Lightworm on summon adds any of your gates from your extra deck back to your hand, or any of your Supreme King monsters from your extra deck back to your hand. Most important thing about this is that it's a level 4 tuner. And it's a high scale. That's really it. And Darkworm just comes up for some of the combos where you are using specifically just Supreme King cards, or you just need like more bodies in rotation.
Okay.
And then we're on 2 Wings of Light. This and the Lightworm are your two targets for the Gate Magician. This card's great. So Gate Magician can't search spellcasters. It does say that. So it can't search itself, so you have to search this, which can then get you to it, or it can get you to Darkworm, which can then get you another copy of Gate Magician. So a lot of times you're going to get into the Oddeyes Vortex Dragon. But good card. I liked it too. Wouldn't played it more or less, I think. Whole engine felt really clean all day. After that is, I'm just going to do these all at once, because this engine's like somewhat common. 3 Ostinato, 3 Refrain, 2 Couplet, I am missing 1, should have had 2 with me, and then 1 Concerto. This is pretty standard if people play the Melodious engine. The only thing that's different is most people only play 1 Couplet. I really like 2 in this deck because it's a high scale for your... It's a high scale, which combos really well with Gate Magician, and having 2 means that if you draw one of the Melodious pieces, you don't have to like use one from hand for the fusion material. You can actually use it as an extender or another starter if your Ostinato gets ashed, or your like Boccia gets impermed. Loved the ratios here. Wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
Also, this is the most broken card of all time. Anytime this resolves, you win the game. It is comically overpowered.
Thank you. We'll need it. I doubt it, but if you permanently need it.
After that is the new engine I played today that I decided to play the night before, the Superheavy engine.
And it worked.
It really worked. With 3 Wakaushi, 3 Bike, 1 Soul Piercer, and 1 Big Benkei. So, I should probably talk about this a lot. If you didn't know, Ostinato requires you control no monsters to activate it. So it directly conflicts with this engine because it puts a spell trap in your grave.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I run this? It's because it's 6 more 1-card starters in the deck, which the deck desperately needed. The whole time I was testing it, I felt like I needed better Pendulum extenders. And the Wakaushi's the best you get. These were incredible all day. Just having more 1-card starters in the deck was stellar. The fact that it doesn't take your normals insane. It extends into so many different things. It's just perfect. I think going forward, I would not cut this ever. I cannot believe these 2 engines work together in the same deck. Unreal.
Maybe that's all they needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if that's all they needed.
And then that's it for like the major engines. After this is more just what we're going into. We're on one Secret Village and one Majesty Pegasus. So these are basically the Pendulum win condition. Any level 4 non-tuner and level 4 tuner makes Ignister Prominence. And Ignister Prominence summons this card, which searches Secret Village. It's super broken. Almost all of your combos starters can get into it. It's just so free. It's so insanely free. If I stuck this onto the board, I won. There was not a single time all day. There's only one matchup I think this is like mid into, which is Snake Eyes, because they can put enough spellcasters on board that they can kind of play through it. And if you get locked under this, you probably lose the game, because you aren't going to be able to set any scales, which is really bad.
Yeah.
I do think you have to play these for right now. I would love for Pendulum to get better payoffs, so I didn't have to play these, because drawing these feels really bad, especially Majesty.
Yeah, we got that balance coming, so...
Yeah, exactly. Give me Electromite back, and I ain't playing these anymore. They're gone. Maybe I'll side them, but hopefully not. Hopefully I never have to play these guys again. But they were good. They did do what they do and win me the game. After that was the Fiend Smith package, which we just played the 1 Lacrima and 1 Engraver.
Okay.
I think these are just mandatory in every modern combo deck. The Fiend Smith engine's so nuts. It specifically helps a lot with dealing with Droll, which is a huge issue for this deck. But because I'm on this, a lot of time I can end on like IP Desiree or like Vortex Desiree or something pretty handily, and that's a lot of times just enough.
Yeah.
Especially when backed up with hand traps. These, admittedly, are not good draws. Lacrima's not terrible. It's like a 1-card Desiree, which isn't bad. But Engraver, I'm not untracked or Lurie or anything, so it was not fun to draw. There were times where it was a problem, but overall, wasn't too bad. These were really good. I would also keep playing the Fiendsmith engine in it. Maybe I won't be able to, depending on what they hit on that ban list, though. Oh boy. Then after that, we have 1 Called By. Was good when I saw it. Is a good card. Hits all the good cards. After that is the hand traps. We're on 3 Droll. So this was the only hand trap that was not amazing all day, I think, into other decks. I ran this specifically, the theory behind it was, if I get Fua Lost, which that card is really rough for this deck to deal with, this was a card I could use to beat it by trolling myself after they got a draw. I give them 1 draw and then Droll, and then I'm able to still end on a pretty competent board. I just wouldn't be able to do like Secret Village, but I could pretty easily still end on like Desiree, Vortex, IP, which is pretty good. Never actually came up. There was one time where it could have came up, but my opponent didn't play into it. But it is, in theory it works. It never came up, so maybe it's bad. I would maybe cut this, especially now with Ryziel and Malice. This card's terrible into those decks, so I would cut this in the future. But for the regional, it was fine.
Yeah.
After that is, I guess the only one, the rest of these are pretty standard and not worth saying much about. 3 Valor, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre. So, I mean, these were all really good. Ogre specifically, I was really surprised by how good it was. It felt honestly like the best hand trap in my deck all day, besides, I guess, Ash, because it beats the Molt Charmies. Hitting, like, the Deception is really good. It was good into Yubel. Good into just pretty much every matchup I had all day, except I think, like, it wasn't great in a Memento, which I did lose to. My losses were Memento, Vanquished Soul, and Fire King Snake Eye, which pretty much every time it was because I bricked game 1, and then they went full combo game 3, and I didn't open any non-engine, so I just couldn't do anything. But these were all really good. Wouldn't change any of these, even currently. I think these are all really good now, still. The reason we're not on Valor is because it messes with the Super Heavy engine. If you imperm, you can't. You can't use any of your Super Heavy cards, so we don't want to be on it. And that was it. The main deck is 42 cards, so now on to the extra. We're on the 1 Odd Eyes Rebellion Xyz Dragon. We never summon this card. It's only in here because it is an Xyz Dragon for the Gate Magician. We just need a target. This is it. It's the best one. Never made it, but it sure is the best one. It's the only one that could theoretically do anything. We're on 2 Botcha for the Melodious combo. You make these and then use these to go into the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, which shoots into the Vortex for your Austin Auto lines. Card's crazy. Card's nuts. Insane if it ever resolves. After that we have the Odd Eyes guys. These were crazy. These are honestly like a big reason why I think Pendulum is even remotely playable. There's not a lot of Omni Negates left in the game, and these are some really good ones. Vortex especially. Sometimes one really cute interaction I did was I would end on like IP plus just the Absolute Dragon. And because Absolute Dragon will trigger if it's sent to grave at all. So if you link it off for IP, you can then summon Vortex, and Vortex on summon can target an attack position monster and bounce it back to hand. Or no, sorry, a special summon monster. No, I'm right. Attack position monster and bounce it back to hand. So it's like another way to remove a guy to help protect the Secret Village, which was great. If that ever worked, it was there. There was one time where I was really greedy and did that, and I think I lost to... might have been Imperm on IP or like Ogre on IP or something, and I wasn't able to get this off my board, but otherwise it was really good. These cards are nuts. After that is the one Beyond the Pendulum, one Exceed the Pendulum. I normally like running two of this, but one, it didn't really come up that I only had one, because if you didn't know, the card is not once per turn. So you can, if they imperm it, you can just link it and another Pendulum monster off and make a second copy and just do it again. But I didn't really have the room. The extract for this is super tight, and it never really came up, so I didn't feel too bad about it. And you normally end on Exceed. This is the spellcaster you only pick. What's cool is you will get into a position where you have this, and then you're also able to summon your Gate Magician from like hand or grave, so you can get a second spellcaster on board. But these cards are crazy too. They're nuts. Wouldn't cut them. One Ignister Prom. Card's broken. This is how we get into our Majesty Pegasus. Craziest thing is that this card's also crazy going second. The effect to like pop and then shuffle a card on board came up constantly throughout the day. It was super relevant all day. Nuts card. After that is the Fiendsmith package. One Moon, one Sequence, one Requiem. This is standard. Cards were good. I don't really have much to say about them. It's the Fiendsmith package. It's good.
Yep.
After that is the IP and SP. Also something we'll typically end on is the IP, just to go into the SP. These were good. Again, these are good cards. Not much to say about them. Like, you end on these, and they do... SP's a good card. Crazy. Hopefully they don't ban IP. That makes this deck a little worse, not gonna lie. And then the really the only flex spot in the deck, and the only like super interesting spot, is the Psychic End Punisher. Most people run like Access Code in Pendulum decks, but for this one specifically, I think Psychic End is insane. One, Beyond the Pendulum pays 12, so that's how you get lower than your opponent. And then Gate Magician, which is a 7, and Lightworm are just make this for free, so it takes less material than Access Code, and it usually is way bigger than Access Code, especially if you're down in the game at all in terms of life. This guy just comes out, is just uninteractable with, banishes something into your opponent's board, and then hits for a ton of damage. This guy was crazy. I would never cut him for Access Code. He is so good. He is my king, my goat. And then for the side deck, this is probably the thing I wasn't happy with all day, was I think the side deck was kind of middling. A lot of it I just didn't go into. We're on one Necro Valley. This is for Snake Eye. I usually side out of the Secret Village if I go first in the Snake Eye post side, and put this in because I don't want to get locked under my own Secret Village, and it's too likely a chance that they will just go like summon a level 1, link it off for Anima, I get rid of it, and then they summon DFL Star and go full combo, and like not much I can do about it. So this is just better into that deck, exactly. After that is 3 Nib. I thought this card was fine all day. I didn't side it in too much. It was good into like Memento, but I still lost that because I just drew all hand traps. Card is a lot better now, especially with Rising on Malice up. But for that event, I don't think it was fantastic. I probably would have played like... I mean, there's a card I wasn't able to play that I would have played instead of this, but probably just another copy of a hand, maybe like Mourner instead, just so I could go up on hand traps post side that I think were better into like Snake Eye Fire King or something, because that was the matchup I was worried about all day, was that one, and I should have been. Thankfully, I only played against it once. I think if I had played against it more, would have been a much different tournament experience. We're on 3 Thrust and 1 Talents. These were also fine all day. I don't think I ever actually saw Thrust, but I did sight it in a few times. So I don't know. I didn't really see it, so don't have really much to say about it. Same deal with Talents. We're on 3 evenly. This was for like Runic Stun or any of the annoying back row decks, and into any of those, I didn't really see this card. I play against like Mimighoul and Vanquish Soul, which I didn't see this either one, but in theory it would have been good against those. I guess not. No, it would have been good in a Mimighoul. But especially Runic Stun, I really did not want to lose to that deck. So this was for that. I didn't see it, thankfully, but this card was fine.
Yeah.
I'd probably keep it. It was a good card. And then we're on 3 Perulia, and there should be 1 Fool Loss, but I was borrowing it. And if you're wondering why only 1, I could only borrow 1. I couldn't even borrow 3 copies of the card. Too expensive. But they were really good. These cards, I think I cited in almost every match, some variant of them. Perulia especially was like great, way better than I expected. I think this card, at least for the format we were in pre-crossover breakers, this card was arguably better than Fool Loss because everybody was playing around it. This card's a lot harder to play around because most decks need to normal summon. So, these cards, you just gotta play them in every side deck. They're crazy. And that's the list.
Alright, any final remarks? Shoutouts?
Shoutouts to Tag Team. Shoutouts to Sean behind the camera. And shoutouts to Danny for being my testing partner through a lot of the for the regional. I tested a ton against him. He actually was the one who told me to play the Supreme King deck. I was originally going to play some much worse decks, but it worked out. It worked out really well.
Alright, anything else?
Oh, that's it.
All
And
right.
best deck.
Thank you.
Let's go.